Welcome back, everyone, for another Watch and Score live stream. It's been a while since we've done this. It's great to be back. As usual, I've got Josh from 86 Boxing and Alex, Zero de la Vega, the new name. As usual, with me on the chat. It's good to have you both back. How have you been for the last couple of months, Alex?
Oh man, well, I think the last stream was before the new year, so happy new year. It's glad to be back with you two. And I'm excited for this fight, as always. I don't think there's a time where I'm not excited, huh? But yes, man, glad to be here.
Good man. How about you, Josh? How's things going?
Yeah, same thing. Glad to be back in the mix, getting to this boxing action. A lot of boxing has been going on. In the meantime, we had some very good fights, so it'll be good to discuss those, as well as always looking back on controversial fights such as the one we're going to be reviewing today.
Yeah, great stuff. We will obviously not be looking back at everything since the last stream that we did, but we will touch on last weekend's events and last night's action as well. We'll get into that in a moment. Just for people stopping by, we hope there's some new people here. There's some instructions on the screen with how you can join in with us in scoring today's fight, which is Floyd Mayweather versus Jose Luis Castillo. Alex will give us an intro to that shortly, so stick around for that. After we've watched that fight and scored it together, we'll touch upon the next couple of weekends worth of boxing action. So again, stick around for that and have your say if you want to. Feel free to pop some comments in the chat. We like to make this interactive. We like to have people scoring with us. The more the merrier, really. So let's get started. Last weekend, Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia, the huge fight of the year so far probably, ended with a pretty spectacular stoppage. Body shot. Gervonta Davis living up to his tank moniker. He's a tank. A lot of people were picking Ryan Garcia to win, and he just kind of crumbled a little bit in there. I think the levels showed, but it was a great fight. Alex, what did you make of it? Give us your thoughts.
The result was not surprising, I would say. I think the biggest thing that shocked me was the amount of interest. I actually watched this with my family. Walked into a room full of I have sisters that are 15 to 18 years younger than me. I had some of my cousins' kids there, and they knew who both boxers were. So that was it was shocking, and it made me feel good because I knew this fight was going to be something as a family we can remember together, and not just that, but as a community, boxing, and just as it's always referred to, the casuals. So yeah, I mean, Tank, like you said, you mentioned, there was definitely a skill difference. Ryan had tools that I don't think he was able to use to obviously pile in rounds and survive. And Tank Davis, there's a gentleman named Devin Haney with all the belts, but who's number one in the division? It's going to be hard to pick against Tank as of right now after that performance.
Yeah, we every time there is a lightweight fight, we kind of say, "Oh, who's the best of the bunch?" Maybe not this time. Josh, give us your thoughts on last weekend.
Yeah, great fight atmosphere. A lot of interest. I knew of people talking about it, some who are casual fans, shooting me text messages, etc. And I think those are the types of fights we need to see. 135 has this talent, and it's good to finally have some of the top tier talent go at it, and we need more of this. And I think it speaks to, when you put on these types of fights in boxing, the people will show up, the people will purchase, the pay-per-views will generally do well. I thought the fight was pretty good in terms of expectations and what it could have been. Ryan had his moments where he was very aggressive, and I thought that played into the overall vibe, and that was a good addition to what was going on. So I thought, given that some pay-per-views have not always lived up to the hype overall from a main event perspective, I do think in this case the main event was the most sort of enticing fight of the night. Now, David Morrell had the knockout performance that was probably the most eye-catching. That said, it was kind of expected given the situation with his opponent and all. But the main event did live up to the hype, I felt, in this fight. For as long as it lasted, it did have that drama. You did have moments of swings that happened in the fight. And I think, as Vega mentioned, yeah, Tank, he showed that, man, he is without a doubt the puncher of the division, and he has boxing IQ, so he'll make it tough for anyone he's in there with. And as far as what can top this or at least keep the momentum going, he definitely needs to be in there with a guy like Devin Haney or Vasily Lomachenko, one that was talked about for years that may not necessarily have that same steam. But also Shakur Stevenson is there, and for my money, I think that would be a very ideal fight. We get to see two contrasting styles, and for me, I really, well, Devin Haney, he's the man with all the belts, so I still regard him as the guy at 135 pounds. Now, taking everything else into account, Shakur Stevenson is the guy that I could see taking over the division, and that's against all comers. It won't be easy, but that is definitely the guy I'm leaning towards. So a Tank versus Shakur Stevenson fight, I think that would be huge.
Absolutely, I think a lot of fight fans are looking to that one, aren't they? Maybe it won't happen next or anytime immediately, but hopefully we'll get there someday in the not too distant future. Alex, did you want to have a pick on who you might think would be the best of the lightweight crop? Josh has just thrown his out there.
I think I'm gonna take Shakur over any and everybody currently. I think he's about 25 years old, really coming into his own. I think he's mastered the style that he wants to fight, and he's ready to fight at any style against anybody, smaller, bigger, stronger, faster. I think Shakur has every tool that you need to be the best, and I expect him to be number one when it's all said and done.
Nice. Okay. Fair enough. I'm just gonna go Tank. I said it in last time. I'm really on board the Tank train. I have been for a long time. I think he's pretty special. I think he's not just a power puncher. He's an actual boxer puncher. He can set stuff up, and I know Shakur will cause him quite a lot of problems. He's probably the one that could do the most damage to him in terms of getting him unstuck. I don't know. I just think he's got that IQ to pull something out every single time. So hopefully we get to find out at some point, and then some of us might have bragging rights, but we'll see.
And if I could add really quick, yeah, not to be the Debbie Downer, but the one thing I didn't like about this fight is the whole catch weight rehydration clause stipulation that was thrown in there for Ryan Garcia. Now, ultimately, it probably didn't make a huge difference, and I think many would have still had Tank winning, regardless of the situation. But I just am not a fan of when those are thrown in. Some say it's an edge, it's just to give an edge to show that you're the whole A side or whatever it may be. But I felt that Ryan hadn't spent enough time at 140 to where a catch weight needed to be added into the mix there, and Tank has fought at 140, so why not just do it straight out? But hey, that's just me.
Yeah.
No, it's funny because, I mean, he came in at 135 and a half or a little bit under 136.
Yep.
And came well underneath the rehydration clause. So it's funny how that was used as a marketing tool, and it worked. A lot of people, he got a lot of fans on his side. He made a lot of people that were Tank supporters go ahead and start speaking bad on Tank and putting money on Ryan and showing support on social media verbally, on platforms such as YouTube, believing in Ryan, coming up with their own scenarios on how Ryan can and will win. And at the end of the day, as we saw, skills pay the bills. And yeah, you look at Tank, like you said, that IQ, and with that power, with his ability to counter people, to set them up, to look so comfortable. I mean, if you think Tank is the best at 135, I don't blame you. I just think Shakur has what it takes to offset that and to set up the setup. Bama Bo in the chat says Shakur has to move up to 140, 147. I would agree to that because you're going to have some type of physical advantages over Shakur to offset some of the things he can. So, but I think 135 is stacked, and hopefully we get all these guys to mix it up. Ryan seems to be leaving 135, 136, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And there's also Devin Haney. How long can he stay at 135? I think he's done after this, but hey, if it's at 140, if it has to be at a catch weight, so be it. At the end of the day, we just saw belts don't matter. We want to see the best versus the best. And it'll be great for boxing to see where it goes from here.
Absolutely. I think they all might end up just chasing each other up the weights if that's what we need to do. That's fine. We've already seen Teofimo Lopez go up there and one or two others maybe. But yeah, wherever it happens, it just needs to happen. Like you say, belts don't matter either. There was no belt on the line for this one, and it sold millions of pay-per-views, and everyone got hyped up about it, and all of Vegas family knew both fighters, so it doesn't matter about there being a title on the line or not. As you just touched upon, some people in the chat there mentioning about things. It's good to see everyone in the chat. Keep the comments coming. It looks like a lot of people are on Shakur's bandwagon as well, so good to see Bamba Bowl, Boxing Lounge, Boz as usual, Beagle as well has joined us. It's good to have you all on board. It looks like this is the Shakur fan club, as Boz said. They're all
plenty of room.
They're all picking him to win. Beagle also put throughout Haney's name, saying he's sure he's hungry. I don't know if he's just on about his appetite. I don't know. Anyway, what else happened last weekend? Joe Cordina was in action over in the UK. He pulled off a nice win on points over Rakimov. It was well, I didn't think it was that close a fight, to be honest. I thought Cordina won pretty clearly. I saw a lot of people on Twitter at the time saying it was a close fight, and they had some pretty close scores. I know quite a few of us had wider scores on the Fight Night Scores platform, and ultimately the judges thought it was a close fight as well, and it was a split decision, which was pretty shocking. Especially that, was it 116, 111 to Rakimov's scorecard, I believe. Let me know if I got that wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was the case. Josh, you're still with us. Did you see that fight? I think you saw the fight last week, didn't you? What did you make of it?
Yeah, great fight. That might have been the fight of the weekend, actually, there in terms of that sustained action that was a part of the contest throughout. I actually scored it 116, 111 for Cordina on the Fight Night Scores site. And I too felt it wasn't as close as some may have had it. Now, of course, everyone looks for different things when they're going through the process of scoring and watching what is taking place in a fight. But I felt that everything that was of significance was primarily landed by Joe Cordina. Rakimov did have his moments. It wasn't just a full wash or anything of that nature. Rakimov showed that he was tough. He was gritty. And I thought that Cordina did the same thing. You always wonder when you have these top-level guys or these top-level amateurs, and then kind of see how they're going to react when they have to go through some diversity there in the pros. And I thought he showed that he had that grit when he got hit with a shot that seemed to hurt him. I forget what round it was, but somewhere around the 4th or 5th round, I believe. But Cordina, he fought through that, and he showed that he was game and he was going to battle through regardless of the situation. So I thought that it was 116, 111, somewhere around there. There were some rounds that were close, but that being said, I do feel that it was definitely a Cordina fight. And even if you look at the two men after the fight, the person that you would most want to look like was certainly Cordina as opposed to Rakimov, who took some pretty serious damage there to the face. I know one of the eyes was nearly closed, at least, if not closed. And great fight. I wish others would have the opportunities to see that. Those who are more on the casual side, who don't really know these guys, this would have been a fight that you would have wanted to see. Of course, it was in Sheffield and it was on the Zone, and a lot of people don't necessarily have the Zone if you're not a boxing fan per se. But it was one of those fights that could definitely make new fans, just given the level of competition it was, with both of them being very good boxers. You could argue great, definitely. Cordina, we know he's very skilled. He took some damage in the fight, but he weathered through the storm there. And I think that it says a lot about Cordina and what the future could be for him, especially given that he was coming off of a hand injury. And, those always could be very telling in a career, especially when it's your power hand. But he seemed to bounce back from that injury very well. And I think we need to keep this momentum going. He's a guy I definitely want to see more of, to think how he capped things off with that Kenichi Agawa knockout. Now this, hey, he's just putting together a pretty sleek resume there and showing that he has a lot of wrinkles to his game. So kudos to both of those fighters in that matchup, but definitely Joe Cordina I thought was standout in that fight.
Cool. Alex, have you got anything to add to that?
I was unfortunately I was unable. I had to miss that fight, getting ready for the big fight of the year, Tank versus Ryan. I did catch the last 3 rounds, and I just want to commend the event. Kind of like what Josh just said. That's a great fight to watch. I mean, you just felt the energy through the TV. I believe the fight was in Wales. You could feel the energy, and you can just watch these two and just see they both really wanted it. They both were doing, as much as they could to defeat the other. So I just want to commend the Zone. The Welsh boxing fans, are just really the UK fans over there, for putting on a great event. And I look forward to see where Cordino goes from here. There's always talks about unifications. And as we know, there's so many different roads, avenues, back streets people take. And from what I'm reading, is that it looks like it's going to be Zelfa Barrett, who I believe was on that undercard. So nice domestic scrap. Like Josh also said, he's coming off a hand injury. That was a tough opponent to face coming off of that. So hopefully we get this Zelfa Barrett fight in and get some big fights. Could it be Oshaki Foster? Could it be the winner of Emmanuel Navarrete? What is his name? Yeah, Emmanuel Navarrete versus Oscar Valdez. Like I said, I'm going to bring it up again. Tank versus Ryan, I'm hoping, has changed the way that matches are made, because we want to see you say you're the best, you say you're the best. Let's get it on.
Yeah, I think you coming on to like last night's event. In fact, we can move on to that if you want straight away. You mentioned Alex, you would like to see Gervonta versus Zepeda next. He won last night in a pretty quick fire double headlines, round 2 knockouts in both fights. So that must have been an early night. Let us know.
Yeah, so I caught the co-main and the main event. Co-main was Diego De La Hoya facing an undefeated fighter. I believe his name was Victor Morales Jr., like 17-0, 6 KOs. I watched a little bit of tape. I've seen Diego De La Hoya fight before. I saw him get stopped by Ronnie Rios. I saw a couple fights also beforehand. Decent guy. However, when I watched Victor Morales, I saw that everything Diego did, this guy did better, with tenacity. Even though he only had a few KOs, I just knew, all right, this guy is going to get the win. I wasn't sure if he was going to get the stoppage, and he did. Second round, they both were trading. I thought Diego was going to try to, be off his jab a little bit more. I thought he was going to be afraid, and he wasn't. So kudos to him for going in there and really biting down. But he paid the price, got stopped. And it seems that actually Diego De La Hoya's uncle, Oscar, is very, very high in this kid, Victor Morales. He, did an interview with him afterwards and is speaking big of him and what's to come. So we'll keep an eye on Victor Morales. But yeah, main event. So what many people may have forgotten was this was supposed to be Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Imanis Stanionis, which was, I think, the whole boxing community was looking forward to. Virgil has his issue again. And so they step in, they bring in, this fight was rumored to be on the Tank undercard. But now we get a main event, and he stops a guy that got stopped at 130 by Chris Colbert. So not surprising. Not impressed with Zepeda. His pace is amazing. I'll say that. Boxing skills. He's able to use pace to basically overcome what he lacks in skills, in my opinion. But yeah, him versus Tank, I think, is amazing. He throws a lot of punches. We're gonna see Tank on that back foot, and you when you're trying to counter, right, you're going to be looking for a specific punch or a specific angle. When you have a guy throwing an average of 100 punches, there's going to be opportunity, but there's also be a lot of danger. I think a good fight to what I think that fight could turn into is Floyd Mayweather versus Jesus Chavez, which Chavez threw 100, 120 punches, just kept coming, and it was an exciting fight. So yeah, I think it's a great matchup. But the rumor is that William Zepeda is going to face Mercedes Gesta next. So that's a bit deflating.
Okay. Josh, did you have anything to add to that one from last night? Just quickly.
Yeah, I just thought it was definitely it was a decent night of action. I guess short action when you look for that type of stuff in the sport. So good performances for the guys up top. I was able to catch the final 4 fights. Well, at least I came in on the Stevenson fight. I forget who he was taking on, but anyway, yeah, of course, the 2 standouts were the main and co-main. Now, I didn't know of Morales coming into the contest, but I thought he looked good and did what he had to do in that fight to really make a statement. This is his opportunity there to get some shine here on this card, being a co-main, and he seized it. And that's the type of stuff you want to see from these young fighters when they get opportunities like that. Props to Diego. Hadn't seen him in a while, but I give him props for showing some grit there. When he knew he was hurt, he tried to bang back, but of course he doesn't have that type of pop, and it didn't work out for him. But maybe we'll see him again, and maybe he goes about it a little bit differently. As far as the main event, yeah, William Zepeda has that must-see type of style and action to him that certainly would add to a bunch of exhilarating action with a top-level fighter. and hopefully that is something we continue to see. When I saw his opponent come out in that first round trying to match him pace for pace, I thought that was going to spell doom for him, and ultimately it did. And trying to match him pace, punch for punch at that same pace, and knowing that Zepeda is one of those that throws a ton of punches, yeah, I kind of saw the story coming, and I figured it would probably end it quicker than actually what I may have thought, actually. But that being said, I like what William Zepeda has to offer, and with Alex mentioning a potential matchup with Tank, I think that would be a pretty interesting matchup right there. I'd love to see it, only because you know that both of these guys have shown that they can punch, and it'll be interesting to see how they react to punches from each other. We know Tank likes to start slow most oftentimes, and with Zepeda coming in and being one of those super active, pacey fighters, he would make things interesting, and he would probably force Tank to start to throw some of those howitzers there in the early parts, which we would see how Zepeda would react to them. So that would be a story of it as well. But some potential other matchups that could take place or stem from Zepeda gaining this win would be pretty cool as well. So I think this just adds to the division in itself. Yeah. Another name that we can say that, okay, when he fights, yeah, it's going to be at the very least interesting because we know what he can bring to the table. And hopefully, as mentioned, this was supposed to be Virgil Ortiz versus Stanionis, and man, that would have been an excellent fight right there. Excellent matchup of 147 pounders who are young and seem to be the next of that crop. And hopefully we get that fight, but definitely with Virgil Ortiz, it hasn't been a great last year, I guess you say year and a half, 2 years, in terms of this injury status and or whether he can actually continue to maintain himself at 147 pounds. So I don't know if it's truly a weight issue and what is going into him trying to stay there at 147, or it's just one of those freak accident type situations. But certainly, I hope that he can get that middle ground in terms of where he needs to be in the future here at some point soon.
Yeah. Okay, all good, all good. Sorry, Matt, I just got myself confused. I've sent you both a link, but it's the wrong link.
Yeah, see that now.
So I just need to get up. Well, basically, what we're going to do this time round is we're going to use our new scoring party feature. So I also posted it in the YouTube chat, which I just deleted it. So if you clicked that link when I sent it, close the tab, man, because that was wrong. I'm sorry about that. So yeah, basically we have a new scoring party tab option basically for every fight that's on the system, and that allows you to create a scoring party. So you'll just click the button, it'll generate a link. You can share that link with some people that you want to have your scoring party with, and then as you score the fight, you see their live scorecards updated in real time down the side. That's if you're looking at it on a desktop. On mobile, you got to scroll down below your scorecard and it'll appear there. It's a pretty cool feature, and I need to get a link for you.
I actually was able to use it for David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant.
Okay.
And yeah, right. It was really cool to see, multiple people. You see their, their scores, after each round that they enter it. So yeah, it's definitely an excellent feature, especially, watching them fight live together.
Yeah, I think if you're like in the same room, it's pretty good. And obviously you can see each other's scorecards in real time. I've adjusted it. It doesn't update as you enter your scores, but every 30 seconds it'll kind of do a refresh, which isn't too bad. Unfortunately, I need to go back and find the fight in a different way. While I'm just getting this up, Alex, do you want to give us like a quick introduction just to this fight, and then I'll send you the link over before we get started?
Absolutely. All right. So the fight, this takes place April 20th, 2002, taking place in the MGM Grand, Las Vegas, Nevada, for Jose Luis Castillo's WBC lightweight title, and as well as the vacant ring title, the challenger, Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather. 25 years old, standing about 5'8", weighing in at 134 pounds, 72-inch reach. As we know from Grand Rapids, Michigan, fighting out of Las Vegas. Before this fight, he's 27-0 with 20 knockouts. If you didn't know, 1996 U.S. bronze medalist at the Olympics at the featherweight division. He is the former WBC super featherweight champion, coming off of 8 defenses with 5 KOs. Jose Luis Castillo, 28 years old, 5'8", weighing in at 134.5 pounds, 70-inch reach, born in Empalme, Sonora, Mexico, but fighting out of Mexicali, Baja California, Mexico. Coming in at 45 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, 41 by stoppage. Current WBC lightweight champion, 3 defenses, coming off of defeating Stevie Johnson a couple of years prior in 2000, upset of the year on a 13-fight unbeaten streak with 9 stoppages.
Amazing. Thank you very much for that intro. Okay, just to say, I've now got a correct link, so I've posted that into the YouTube chat. So if you want to give that a click, people will join. You can click start scorecard and you'll start seeing the people that are down there in the scoring party. They are down the right hand side. Once we start entering our scores, then obviously that'll start updating, and then you can also click into each individual person's scorecard, and you can also click the average scorecard at the bottom, and then that'll bring that up in a pop-up window, and you can see all that information. So I reckon we are good to go. I have got the fight video up, and let's just get straight into it. In fact, before we do that, I just need to nip off for 30 seconds. Alex, can you cover for me?
No problem. No problem. So this fight here, there's actually 6,920 in attendance. Floyd Mayweather bringing in a cool $2.2 million. Castillo 1.1 million, even though he's a champion. So we've been seeing this type of thing for a while, huh? The belts, they don't really mean as much as we always thought, huh? Also, Mayweather came in as a 4-1 betting favorite. That's it's quite large.
Yeah.
You know, Castillo, he actually had 2 quick tune-ups in Mexico before this, while Mayweather was, defending his belt at 130 pounds against, decent guys. Also, he's coming off a lot of hand injuries, and a lot of these fights. There was a fight two fights previous. Carlos Hernandez, dude was coming forward the whole time, and Mayweather came in with a hurt right hand, and like the 6th round hurts his left hand on the hook, and is literally round by round fighting with one hand, basically just dealing with the pain. All right, my right hand's hurt. I'm gonna jab him the whole time. My left hand's hurt. I'm gonna lead. I'm gonna switch to the southpaw stance and throw my right hand mostly. Uh, yeah, it's just I think it's truly amazing for an individual to be able to dominate, even though he's one-handed basically. So I don't see any of these other fighters being such as that. I think Shakur's the closest, and that's why I pick him to beat any and anybody that he faces.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, I am back. Thank you for that, boys. We are good to go. I've got myself a beer, so I'm just going to crack that open.
Hell yeah.
Sunday afternoon. We're off work tomorrow in the UK because of the royal crowning or whatever is going on.
Oh,
So, yeah, why not enjoy a beer on a Sunday?
absolutely.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, let's get to it. We are straight into the action. We've got quite a few people in the scoring party, which is great to see. So, be interesting to see how everyone scores it. Excuse me. Let me know if the volume's too much or whatnot. Hopefully it won't. It won't be.
The good thing about Mayweather, he's been a gym rat all his life. He's had to get in and box with middleweights, light heavyweights, and the whole deal. So he fights better at a disadvantage.
You think his quickness is really so much
Oh,
of an advantage that
wow.
9 pounds doesn't mean that much.
I don't know about his quickness, but the 9 pounds doesn't mean anything. This guy's been around the gym a long time, and his dad's family's put him in the ring with any fight.
So this is Mayweather's first fight at lightweight
Okay.
after dominating super featherweight. I'm talking dominant.
He still
If he
looks.
gets touched and people make such a big deal about it, that's how dominant he was back then.
Yeah. Yeah, I recall him making waves and he was just looking so standout and started to garner a lot of fans. Definitely those that had a more keen interest in the sport, and definitely he started to turn towards just latching himself on to the hip hop community and all that stuff. So he started to make waves with the youngsters out there who were looking into that type of stuff. Myself being one of them, and I started to tune in very much for pretty much any fight I could see where he was involved in it.
As American fans here take up the chant to support Mayweather against Mexican fans who are chanting for Castillo.
It was ever thus.
He still looks pretty big in there.
My God,
Like he's come up from the division down. He looks bigger.
You see how Castillo likes to come down and then up with his hard punches. One thing about all that, there's only 2 guys in the ring. And only one can win is one of them. Mayweather just can't
It's been a long time since I watched a Mayweather fight.
have a disadvantage, but he's have to be the aggressor. Does not like being the aggressor.
Oh, you haven't been checking out those exhibitions?
Who has?
to keep
Did he not do one in London a couple of months ago?
Come at him in waves.
I think I saw that, and there was like it was empty.
Takes one step forward and stays right there.
Perhaps hoping to counter Mayweather with an uppercut as it comes in.
Exactly.
Okay, there's 20 seconds left.
And this kind of differs from what you may be accustomed to seeing with Mayweather or others who he's involved with. This wasn't really a fill-out round. This is like they got right into it.
From a left hand by Mayweather. And another one by Floyd.
I think Castillo tried to. Oh shit! It's one of them. Cuts out the in-between rounds, so we'll just have a few seconds to score it. I mean, it's a pretty close round.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in.
Not a ton separating in that round. You could argue Mayweather may have had a little bit more of the sharper punches. They had a little bit more flash to them, but certainly not a ton separating them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's continue.
Where they speak Spanish. Our interpreter.
So hopefully once your scores go in, it might take up to 30 seconds, and then you'll start seeing everyone else's scorecard up there.
Massage my left shoulder, he said. That's not a good sign.
Jose Luis Castillo threw only 27 punches in the first round and landed only 3. So even though Floyd Mayweather wasn't terribly active, throwing only 39 punches,
Oh,
he had the edge, and there he knocks Castillo down, but Vic Draculic rules it a slip because Mayweather's foot was on Castillo's foot.
I couldn't tell exactly what happened there. The appearance was that Castillo, in jumping back, tripped over his feet.
I'm having trouble watching.
is it buffering for you, Alex?
Yeah, it's just choppy.
Whether Mayweather thinks he has Castillo.
What about for you, Josh? Is it okay?
So far, so good.
And Floyd Mayweather catches it just above the left eye.
Now, I typically watch on the actual YouTube channel because it does buffer in the actual
Oh, okay.
streaming platform, but on the YouTube channel, it's usually pretty straightforward.
You could always do that, Alex. You'll be a little slightly delayed from what I'm seeing.
Get out there and do something that they haven't practiced doing.
You know, yesterday we spent 30 minutes with Floyd Mayweather, and he barely mentioned Jose Luis Castillo, preferring to spend most of the time talking about money, fame, promotion,
Money,
exposure,
fame.
subjects like that. The last fighter who came into a fighter meeting and talked that way was Shane Mosley before his fight with Vernon Forrest in New York. And in the second round of that fight, Mosley was cut over the eye when he was butted by Forrest.
This is better by Castillo.
Coincidences already, which may or may not mean anything.
Mayweather started switch hitting. Turned from southpaw, then again. When you start doing those things, you're setting yourself up for a butt.
We knew Castillo wanted to catch Mayweather with something coming up from underneath. Just thought it might be an uppercut instead of a butt.
You get a guy
Mayweather was just always so good at that jab to the body, always very quick and reactive afterwards. Very, very, very difficult to see coming and then to counter.
allowed the guy to get himself together.
Ooh,
Counter right hand by Mayweather as Castillo came in.
and that timing is just impeccable, huh?
When you think about styles, you can already see where Castillo wants to be. It's just a matter of time, and can he close that range?
Mayweather's jab this time. That's what you want to do.
Eating counter rights from Mayweather like that definitely will keep him at bay.
I mean, he made a good go of that one.
But two interesting incidents there. Castillo went down. It wasn't
We'll just take a
Oh, wow.
pause.
cut out all that, huh?
Yeah, need to be on my toes for this one.
Cut the fluff.
Cut him, bozo. That's not very nice, sir.
Oh, Bazo.
Oh, Bazo. Oh, okay. Apologies. I know one scorecard that will be invalid. I wonder. I hope he's not referring to me, Mr. Bo.
Castillo flipped over his toes as he was moving away.
Mayweather's corner told him to keep that jab working. That's what you got to do. When you don't know what else to do, keep jabbing. Find yourself in the middle of the ring. Don't.
Well, we've got a couple of scorecards that are still empty at the moment. Maybe they've dropped off. We'll see.
Josh had alluded to it. It's pretty obvious. Castillo wants to come forward, throw shots. Mayweather, you're looking to counter, keep space. Definitely feel Mayweather's making sure that space is staying there. Has not really allowed Castillo to come in. See, comes in, pushes him off. Like, yeah, won't warm me. Whatever. Here, touch gloves. I'm gonna do it again.
From what I recall, I remember there being a significant jab difference in the fight, which kind of told a part of the story, and partially it was overlooked by some too as well.
With the jab, which is good. This fight is going to go beyond 7 rounds. Those body punches are really going to count for something.
There's a few controversies with this fight, which maybe we can run through at the end or once it starts to be mentioned. But I say Mayweather's jab is looking good. He's using it, like I said, pumping it to the to the body, using it upstairs. He's obviously the faster, the quicker of the two. But Castillo doesn't look like he's deterred. He's going to come forward and keep looking for the right shot as he throws that nice uppercut. I think it may have landed.
Mhm.
I would like to see Castillo work on the inside. Stop waiting for the referee to come. Let your hands go. We saw Benavidez do a good job of that. And actually, that was probably Ryan Garcia's best moment of the fight against Tank. Getting on the inside and just letting the hands go.
Agree.
Yeah, you got to cut the ring off there, Castillo. Throw the hook on his as he tries to come out. Hopefully keep him still. Go to the body, go back up. See, that was nice there. You see how he did there? Doubled up with the left hand. He did a jab hook, kept him still. Felt like Castillo is having a very good last minute to this round.
Yeah, you can see that he'll need a bit more of that if he wants to change the trajectory of this fight. But definitely a good start to kind of what he wants to do.
Gotta pause it because
Was it enough?
Quick.
Question right there.
All right, get this in there. Decent fight so far. You see it's starting to mold. You're starting to see guys are finding the success they would want to build off of. If I'm in Mayweather's corner, I probably say I like to see that jab a little bit more, and also when he's throwing that left hand, catch and shoot more. I haven't really been seeing it. And Castillo, man, as that last minute went, keep that up. You found success. Like I mentioned before, this is for the vacant ring title for lightweight, so this is for lightweight supremacy.
All right. I'm going to clear out those blank scores as well, just so that they're out of the way. and we will continue.
than he anticipated.
Well, he's in with a solid fighter, and you're just not going to be able to hit Castillo with just anything. And that's bothering him.
Well, they were under the impression that this was an easy target. His trainer, his uncle, said, look, if you throw a beer bottle into the ring, it's going to hit Castillo somehow.
Counter right hand, which is good. You make the guy stop and wonder before he throws his left jab.
Round 4 of a scheduled 12. Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim. 2 rounds to 1, 29-28. Pretty boy Floyd.
2 rounds to 1.
Rounds 1 and 2. I thought Floyd easily outboxed him. Jose Luis Castillo didn't do enough. By the way, that knockdown in the second round, extremely questionable. I thought Floyd did throw a left hook, and this guy went down on the end of the hook. But what are you going to do? It's a judgment call by the referee, so it doesn't go as a 10-8 round. In the third round, Jose Luis Castillo did nail Floyd Mayweather when Floyd went up on the ropes. 2 rounds to 1, Mayweather.
The lightweight average for punch out.
I'm not upset at his scorecard.
These guys are throwing between 30 and 40 punches per round. So they are picking their
Normally, I feel that me and Harold are at odds.
Mayweather seeks to get close. Get his right hand right above his chin.
We mentioned it before, but combi box is such an interesting tool that is used. People feel, well, he outlanded him, so he won it. And I mean, if you look at scoring criteria, it's about clean, effective punching. And these are just guys with a clicker. If you guys didn't know that, they're sitting there, 15 rows up, have something in his hand, and they click, 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 click.
Yep. As they say, it's a round by round affair. You have to score each round as though it's a brand new start to the fight. And this is what they preach in the amateurs as well. I can say that it tends to vary what people are seeing from the different angles on the sides of the rings that they're on. But generally, you do have to take into account what is happening in that round and that round only.
It's so easy to score in reference to previous rounds, like a boxer's not really doing very well, so they might do a little bit better in the next round, but really they've not done enough to win the round. But maybe you just kind of give it to them just because it's an improved performance. I can fall into that trap anyway.
It's easier to see forward aggression than to see somebody fight off the back foot and seeing that they're actually in control. I'll say that.
That's true as well.
It was a pretty interesting round. I do favor one style more than the other as the fight's gone on, but I think it's been a very competitive fight, especially the last 2 rounds.
Yeah. That round up so quick.
It did, huh? I think it was Harold in his long speech on his scorecard. Instead of just saying he had 2-1 and this is why, he had to say a lot of other things.
Okay,
I agree with Kaiser Koba, man.
Go ahead.
Basically what I just said. It's competitive, but there's a specific fighter I feel is just doing better.
Yeah, I'd go along with that. I've got Mayweather. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to enter my card, and then I'm going to switch over to my view of... Which one is it? Scoring party. Oh, my word, that is rubbish. Let's try this one. There we go. You can still see us, and you can see my scoring party. So you'll see some scores updating in a moment. I've just put my scores in now, and on the right-hand side, you can see the other people in our group, and all the scores have just updated that weren't previously updated. So we can see just at a glance here now how other people are scoring it in comparison to me, which is pretty cool. And if I click into Josh's, for instance, it brings up his scorecard in a little pop-up window. He's added some additional comments. Love to see that, thank you. And then we've also got an average scorecard link down here, which again, something's fucked up. So we won't do that one again. You know what it is? It's to do with those judges' scorecards we can import now. I need to do some better coding. I think it's looking for those scores and it's just not finding them, so it breaks. Anyway, it looks like all of us, apart from Boz, are on board the 4-0 bandwagon. Let's have a look at Boz's card, why not? So it looks like he gave the second round to Castillo. I think that's the one that Lederman gave him as well. I suppose we'll let him off. We'll let him off, shall we? But it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 1 against him. I know Kaiser Koba's scoring as well. He might be... Let's see what his score is. He also has it 4-0. So there we go.
Right.
Let's continue. Round 5. Let's go.
I feel like Bob always wants to go against what we got every time. But it's all good. Hey, if you had it that round, I could see it.
Tangle like that, you don't land, you don't get any points in. You got to make certain that you got points in, then you score.
Now, from my recollection of watching this fight, I can't remember if it was between the third and fourth, or fourth and fifth, where Mayweather turns to his corner and says, "My shoulder hurts." And I'll never forget it. Roger Mayweather says, "I don't give a fuck. Go in there and fight that man." So I remember it's supposed to be the left shoulder that he hurt during the fight, as well as he claims he hurt beforehand.
He's doing better here. Still, he just landed a nice left hook.
Yeah, certainly you can see Castillo starting to close that distance more and more as the rounds have wore on. Part of it, is can a fighter stay on the outside and keep someone at bay for the entirety of the fight? It's happened before at times, but certainly if you keep applying that pressure, you can start to cut things off.
Yeah, Castillo's definitely, you could just tell he is a half step closer, and he just missed a mean right hand like 10, 15 seconds ago.
Mayweather popping Castillo with a little uppercut to make space and get away.
Yeah, but you see right hand heavy attack
More and more just waiting in
by Mayweather as well.
at any cost.
Mm-hmm.
So they try to bully floor.
You see, I mentioned before, I like to see Castillo, use those hands more.
Yeah.
Throw those hands, apologies, during that clinch. He waited.
Yeah, making it a bit rough and ready now. Getting on the inside and rough him up. There's a couple of new names in the chat. Good to see you. Justin White, welcome on board. Info Joe, nice to have you here.
Yeah, shout out to them. Shout out Justin and my man Info.
He moves all he wants, but the body is going to stay right in front of him. Just throw for the body.
I think it's pretty obvious. I'm sorry.
Continue. You're right.
Oh, no, yes, Boz, thank you for the education. I think it's a pretty obvious Castillo round, not to sway anybody, but obviously one man's working, the other one just seems to be a little more content in there. That was a nice turn by Mayweather, however.
Oh, that's a great shot at the end.
Yeah, nice.
Castillo in that right hand. Mayweather did counter him, but it didn't look like there was much on those shots. Very touching shots.
You gotta go with what you just said there, Alex. It's much better than Castillo.
Yes, you got to give it to it.
On the
Got to
front
give
foot.
it to Castillo.
This fight is contentious, isn't it? So he's got to start winning rounds somewhere.
Yeah, fight definitely has heated up.
Let's have a look at some of the comments before we are paused. Earlier on, Kaiser was saying Floyd's just too fast. I think that was in the earlier rounds. Beagle says, love the shared scores group feature. Thank you, man. I hope that it is interesting and people make use of it.
I'll try my best not to sway the people, Bo.
Yeah, you're like a Sky Sports commentator. Right, we'll continue.
You know, Floyd Mayweather was just 15 months removed from his biggest victory of his career, beating Diego Corrales. I believe in, what was it? I have my notes here. Apologies. Trying to do up top of the dome, not always easy, but stopped him in the 10th round. 5 knockdowns, knocked the guy down 5 times,
Yeah.
and the only fight he's ever been the underdog in his whole career. So that was a big win, and we all know Diego Corrales and Jose Luis Castillo mixed it up for some people call it the greatest fighter in boxing history. Later on,
Yeah. And yeah, many regard that as Floyd's most standout performance still to this day. Uh, Definitely from an offensive standpoint, you got to see the very best of him.
but that fight with Corrales was actually in the MGM Grand as well. And Floyd is definitely, as they would say, on that bike.
Indeed. Speaking of the MGM Grand, it seems like the new show in town is T-Mobile Arena.
His corner told him to keep the left jab going, burst him up. Keep the left jab on him. He's doing a good job of it now.
Yeah, I haven't really seen anyone land anything of significance.
Yeah, and you can see that Floyd, he knows the deal and what is not going to be in his favor. So when Castillo is able to get him on the inside, he grabs that arm and holds it.
Yeah.
Let's sneak a little.
Yeah, see a little more of that, Castillo.
Yeah, Floyd just kind of getting in, trying to hold. Good shot there.
I can't lie. I'm engaged in this fight right now. I'm really enjoying the action. It's not the so much about volume, but it's just so interesting the battle they're having. Castillo coming forward, Mayweather with his
Nice body
slickness.
shots.
Sometimes the slickness wins out. Sometimes the pressure wins out.
Well, he's got a lot to complain about as Castillo continues to turn this into a barroom brawl.
And that's what you got to do if you want to beat Mayweather. Keep this thing in a brawl.
Yeah, this is definitely better, isn't it? It's Castillo stalking, trying to close that gap, and Mayweather is not so much on his bike. He's just being elusive, isn't he? It's not. I won't say he's running and making it a shit fight. It's still engaging.
Now the people love the term on his bike, so we're going to use it.
Go for it.
Right.
They love to hear it or they love to hate it.
Without a doubt.
And that was tough, man. I mean, Castillo was obviously bringing the action. Floyd did loads of good counter shots, though.
Agreed. Very,
Especially
very
towards the end.
interesting.
We might have
I
a
was-
mixed bag. We might have a mixed bag on the scores on this one.
Alert, swing round. I hope I'm not affecting anyone's score with that.
Oh, we've got
Castillo
some.
did a lot of good work to the body, I would say. If you want to slow a faster fighter down, focus there.
Yeah.
That core.
No, agreed. I think Castillo definitely. I think he's locked in. I would say Mayweather doesn't look as comfortable, but still doing good work.
Yeah, Floyd sometimes gets that look in, doesn't he, where someone puts pressure on him and he kind of looks a little bit like a rabbit in headlights. Doesn't perform that way. He's brilliant and elusive, but just his expression and the way he looks. He's like, this is dangerous. I need to get out of here, and he does it well. So
we got people exposing their who they gave that last round to.
Yeah, Justin says it's a Castillo round. Kaiser, same. Clear Castillo round for me. What were you saying there, Alex? Sorry, cut you off.
Oh no, apologies. I was gonna say Info's exactly right. He's holding that arm, but I don't feel like he's holding it so tight. I definitely feel like Castillo can be more aggressive, and if he just tries, he can get his arm out of there. Gets a couple punches in before the ref breaks him up.
Apologies, Bama Bo. You got to get to your grandma's house, so let's get on with it. Grandma gonna have to wait.
Nah. Shout out Bama Bo, man.
Bam.
Appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, appreciate it.
who's up 2 divisions, basically featherweight, just staying there and hammer Floyd. Floyd's got
I mean, look at Castillo with the upper body movement. You don't usually see, Mexicans use that too often. Normally it's a guard come in and throw power punches, but he's trying to give him different looks from the outside without a jab too and having success.
Yeah, that is true.
That's when those extra pounds start to work against you. When you start being hit in the body by
You can certainly tell that Castillo, yeah, he is pretty calculated in what he's trying to do in there.
Mm. Definitely like to see some counter slip in there by Mayweather.
Oh, that's a nice little left uppercut as he's coming in.
Stevie Johnson said that
Wow,
since he
wow,
became
yeah.
champion, he thought that
And you see no reaction from the crowd, no mention it from the announcers.
Right.
You're right, that was clean. And the thing was, he pivoted afterwards straight out of danger. Like, that's like, mwah, magnificent. Right hand a little bit behind the head there. So Castillo tried to counter that jab over the top, but just too slow in the timing.
Yeah. And I also don't hear much acknowledgement of that jab from Mayweather because when he's throwing it, it's for the most part landing often.
Hmm.
I think he's still slowed down a little bit here, hasn't he? What was that? Out of the way, ref.
Ah, come on, ref.
Yeah.
Coming in a little too much, partner. Look, like you said, the jab landed. You saw that head cock back, and no, we don't care. We want to see blood, sweat, and tears in there. Look at that! Oh man, that boy slippery. Nice left hook, right hand.
That was nice. Some good body shots.
Wow. Ooh, did he catch him with that overhand right?
It was quick. Didn't fully tell. I don't know. I feel like they said another big round for the champion, but I feel like they disregarded a lot of the work that Mayweather was doing, especially behind that jab there in that round.
Yeah, man. But Castillo, I mean, that's a dog right there. I mean, he came forward and he did not stop trying to put that pressure, trying to hurt Mayweather. So, yeah, great rounds. Honestly, like you said, Mayweather was doing a lot of good things, and Castillo was consistent throughout that whole round. Trying not to be biased here. I'm doing my best. I don't want Bama Bo to point it out again.
I can tell. No, that's a classic round of possibly, if you like that kind of counter shots, technical stuff. Maybe Mayweather could have got that, but Castillo's, on the front foot, dogged, trying to get in. So looks like Boz,
biased chat,
Info Joe, and Kaiser all had Castillo in that round. I don't know if Alex is fishing for hate or if that was his actual score.
You know what they say, you have to take the belt from the champion. Not really true, but it's sure as hell cool to say.
I hate that saying.
Look at that. A couple jabs landed by Castillo. I was going to say that's the one, another, okay. Something very lacking from Castillo is the jab, but I think for good reason. But definitely seems this round he wants to pump it out. Look at that. Counter jab by Floyd. Not a word. Jab to the face as Castillo went to the body. Not a word.
I'm seeing a standout scorecard in our little party on the right hand side. Like an ISO. Boz is liking Castillo's work.
I don't blame you. He is doing well.
Yeah.
I think he was a 4-1. Well, Mayweather was a 4-1 favorite, so definitely doing better than most people thought.
Jose Luis Castillo spent 5 years as a sparring partner for the great Julio Cesar Chavez. Yesterday, I asked Castillo if he
Shout out
remembered
Rodolfo.
watching Chavez's fight with Meldrick Taylor, the classic fight in which Taylor dominated for 9 rounds and Chavez
Yeah, Rodolfo Rivera, good to have you on board, my friend.
came out with 2 seconds too. Castillo smiled and said that's exactly the blueprint.
Jab,
I'm
hook.
just not going to wait until the last 2 seconds.
Come on, guys.
Impressively, this fight begins to
I get it. There's not much on those shots, but
Yeah.
I mean, the scoring system, scoring shots. Nice right hand over. That was nice.
Nice one.
Change levels, throw the right hand over the top. Straight right hand over the top.
another hard right hand to the body by Castillo.
But yeah, not all of that stuff coming from Castillo is landing.
Mayweather working
Yeah, exactly.
trying to reestablish tactical command.
No. Like what I like from Castillo, I feel like he's doing better or he's adding something each round.
Remember that Floyd Mayweather's 130-pound world championship.
I think he's been a bit less effective this round. Not landing quite as telling.
He remains the champion.
Yeah, I agree.
More natural weight class.
He's managed to make Castillo slip up a little bit.
As Kaiser's just said there, good boxing match. Real skill. What's going on here?
Oh man.
Yeah. I always disliked Drakovic in there that time. Majority of the time. Like, come on, man.
It's a shitter.
In the fight, too officious.
I agree. He said officious? Wow. Too officious. That's I'm gonna write that word down.
So I guess technically that if you scored it from Mayweather, that could be a 10-8 round right
Yep.
there.
Absolutely.
And why did he take that point away?
I have
Even
no
he
idea.
doesn't know.
Because if it's holding, like,
I've added a comment. Point deduction. It wasn't the reason for the score. I had Mayweather winning that one. We might have some
Yeah.
varying scores now. Just quickly, Alex 79-72, Bambo was 79-73. Balls has got it 75-76 to Castillo. I've got it 77-74. Josh has got it 78-73. And Beagle is still yet to input that round, so we will continue.
That's what prompted the deduction. Mayweather only threw 4 power punches by CompuBox numbers in the 8th round. Question, is his right hand hurting him?
Mayweather loved the old
Bama says this ain't even close, especially with the point taken. Yeah, it looks like you and Alex are of that same opinion so far.
Now, why was the referee in there breaking them up? They had broken themselves up, and they were ready to keep fighting.
Calm it down now. Calm it down. Let's box. Let's go.
What do you mean, calm it down? It's a fight.
Referee's telling two
It's a fight.
to fight the
Calm down.
you
Classic
calm down,
form.
Larry.
Yeah, Larry's in classic form right now.
You better be a referee and get those guys managed well, because I can see something brewing
Oh,
in the
no.
referee also.
Well, whatever's brewing, George, I want to see it brew over.
You can end up with a disqualification.
Hard body shot by Castillo right on the belt line of Mayweather. Point deduction isn't going to stop Castillo from doing the only thing he can do to win the fight, which is to drive Floyd back into the ropes and keep trying
Triple right hand from him, huh?
Mayweather's having a rough time dealing with this strong Castillo.
Yeah, and I think he underestimated him. I think they were under the impression this was a guy who would move straight into him and be easy to pop shoot.
That's the trouble. He moves his head as he comes in.
his right hand only sparingly in the eighth. Floyd Mayweather threw 2 big right hands early in the round. Has not unlimited.
Yeah, Bo. Bo said he's watching the fight without sunglasses.
If it's a close fight,
Mayweather keeps moving along the ropes rather than going to the middle of the ring.
Even as you talked about Castillo being the
Oh
aggressive
no,
fighter,
there you go.
I can just hear the viewers in the audience thinking, well, wait a minute. Mayweather is promoted by the local promoter and lives in Las Vegas.
Not liking this activity,
Maybe that
the lack of activity from Mayweather.
I'm enjoying this fight too much to have to deal with that right now, Jim.
but there's only one Las Vegas judge among the 3.
Doing doing a lot of moving,
England, 1 from Thailand.
not so much throwing.
About Mayweather, he's been able to get those jabs to the body in the earlier rounds. So Castillo's throwing a lot of power shots. This could wear him down.
You know, Jay-Z had this line once where he said, "Do you listen to rap music or do you just skim through it?" So I say for Boz and others, do you look at the punch land or do you just skim through it?
He's thinking of it.
Not this sort of
Okay, let's take a quick pause.
Flobos.
What's going on?
I haven't heard that one in a while.
Right.
I have an issue with my card. I accidentally clicked out and I can't get back in. So
Oh no, Alex.
but I'm able to I'm copying my old one and then I'm gonna score this round. Yeah, I'm not very happy, but it's okay. Worst things have happened, right?
Uh-oh, they're going to say you're up to funny business.
Yeah, he's rewriting stuff. Oh man.
So sorry. Once again, shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate everyone coming in, taking time out of your Sunday to hang out with us and watch a you know, you could call it classic, but a classically controversial fight.
punch that Mayweather
Well, I've been
Certainly,
enjoying it.
certainly.
It's been entertaining so far, and we've got another 3 rounds to go. And hey,
Yeah.
we've been kind of starved of boxing action this weekend. Last night's event, obviously, but only 4 rounds in total for the 2 main fights.
Right.
So
But yeah, salute to all. Love the dialogue.
we've got you covered here.
See, Mayweather got warned of the elbow right in the beginning of this round.
For 4 rounds, 5, 6, 7, and 8, I was watching Floyd Mayweather fight a desperation fight. It wasn't in generalship. He was running away, taking shots at Castillo.
Bozzy's trying to recruit a gang,
The aggressor is Larry.
it looks like, to take you on, Josh.
In the 10th round, for some crazy reason, Jose Luis Castillo seemed to slow down, just like he is here, and Floyd outpunched him.
Mayweather's starting to open up with his right hand now. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah, back to throwing the right hand after throwing it so sparingly in the 8th and 9th rounds.
Let me tell you, I don't care how tough you are, you can't keep getting hit with good straight hands by Mayweather like that. Right hand.
Well, that was some terrible misses from Castillo, huh? Like, was he aiming at someone 6'3"?
Listen to George Foreman there talking like someone who knows how to box. Can't get getting hit with these straight shots. They count.
You know, but in the sequence where he's missing a lot, he did start. Castillo started off with a good jab to the body, dead in the middle. To really help set up him be able to throw all those shots. Oh, no, Jesus, boy, that was man. I was pinpoint that left hook.
Oh, well, you can't do that. Castillo
right.
go around the
Oh,
back in
Jesus.
some kidney shots.
Okay.
Warning Mayweather for pushing off. Shy about pushing off. Mayweather takes a series of big shots against the ropes. Castillo just missing.
Nice little comeback. Well, this has been a good round for Castillo for me.
Castillo's walking right into Mayweather's hook. His right hand.
I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of missing.
What's going on now?
Another
Drakovic
point,
trying to
man.
make up the point he took for no reason earlier.
Evens it up by taking it from Mayweather.
Alrighty.
Are you with us again there, Alex? Shall I delete your old scorecard? You're making me do admin, man. I'm not happy. It's fine. I'm deleting that card out of there. That one is gone. Hopefully it wasn't the new one.
I hope not.
Okay, let's get round 10 scores in. And Floyd had a point deducted as well. Okay, that's... My score's getting close now. Very close.
Man, I got to give it to Boz. I really like how he stands on his 10.
Let's have a look. Buzz says he's not throwing enough. Now he starts throwing. I guess that's about Mayweather. Info Joe says he misses the HBO days. Yeah, we're pretty good. Kaiser says Castillo getting the body shots in when he can. And Buzz says another 9-9 round. Alright, we're continuing.
I agree that he's throwing the body shots. But I think Josh has been pretty accurate in saying he's missing a lot of this stuff.
Looks like you two are in cahoots with your scoring. You've both been bought off. Paid by money.
Yeah, I mean, those aren't scoring shots there. You know, like, come on.
Power punches in round 10 by copy box numbers. Castillo landed 25 to only 8 for Floyd Jr.
Huh. Love Compy Box, huh?
Expected this to be a royal coronation.
Remember, CompuBox is very much a human assortment of numbers, a human-based clicker type situation, similar to the old days of scoring the amateur fight, where they didn't take into account anything to do with the actual generalship that was going on.
A human error machine, you could call it.
With those low blows there.
Landing many body blows at close quarters where Mayweather is
Can't be box like me doing my own taxes. A little bit inaccurate.
Including the low blows, I give us a better round for Castillo so far.
Halfway through.
You could feel that he he feels like he's boxing it in there. Nice body shot. Nice work from Floyd. Nice work.
This is good stuff.
I hear you, Kaiser, and I respectfully disagree. If you're not landing those shots, then to me, it doesn't count. But that's just me.
Ooh, that might have been caught.
That's an interesting, mixture of opinion there. I can see it both ways. This is fun though. Bit of fighting in a telephone box type of thing. I think they're both getting tired. They can't be asked moving.
Yeah, atypical of Mayweather to fight like that. As we know, well, Money Mayweather, Pretty Boy did have a lot more spurts of that.
Yeah. But certainly a better round for Castillo here. I feel like he had a lot of good work there on the inside. especially that
Oh.
body work.
Good uppercut at the end.
Ooh.
That one's tough, man. That is a tough round.
Last round coming up.
Round 11. Another swing one. I don't know how to score it.
Go with your gut.
Interesting fight. Interesting fight. I'm finding it not to be too controversial. Actually, not as controversial as I thought.
Yeah, I think my education's gotten so much better. I see a lot more things. Before I had it. I think the last time I watched it, I had it one way, and I'm not like that at all this time.
Yeah, right.
Right, we'll continue with the last round. And we'll have a look at some scores. Hopefully we can get to an average scorecard. No, we're not going to be able to do that. Well, we can see it at the bottom anyway.
CompuBox numbers in round 11. Castillo 35 out of 68. Mayweather 20 out of 50. Hard round to score. Mayweather's punching very effective down the stretch of the round. Harold Letterman, how do you have it coming to 12?
Okay, Jim. 105, 102, 6-4, 1 even. Jose Luis Castillo. I think that Floyd Mayweather was just fighting this guy's fight. Jose Luis Castillo, the bigger, harder puncher. I think he's getting the best of Floyd Mayweather.
Interesting. Okay, Jim. Exactly.
Jose Luis Castillo, 6-4, 1 even.
Well, the point makes itself. At least on Harold's scorecard, Mayweather would need a knockout to win.
I have it a little closer by 1 round, 1 point.
The Kaiser says after 11, excuse me, after 11, this fight could have went either way. Momentum swings, it's not a robbery.
Keep his title.
It already happened to Castillo once, and he got a draw against Stevie Johnston.
Yeah, I'm seeing it similar to how Kaiser's got it.
Effective, and he gets away with it.
Oh, that's a great shot.
Mayweather's leaping in with the strong left hook. Should have done that a little earlier. But this guy can take a punch, Castillo.
Castillo's chin has been
Boz has Castillo ahead by 1. I've got Mayweather ahead by 1.
this fight. He's been able to.
You two and Beagle have it fairly wide.
And he's keeping the fight.
And I think Bamabo's gone to see his grandma.
Shout out, Bo. Thanks for stopping by, man.
Thank you very much for stopping by. Yeah, we'll see you next time. Last minute.
Jose Luis Castillo took a
I feel like Mayweather's been a bit of a matador this round.
Yeah.
Using his feet, hitting him one shot at a time. And I think you mentioned it earlier that Castillo kind of looked a little bit tired, so I feel like he's not doing as well. I mean, he's still coming forward, but there's not much on the shots. The energy's not the same, I feel. But he's still pressing. He's still coming.
Good uppercut slipped in there.
Misses. Look at that. Miss. Countered. Miss.
Slipping
Right.
those shots.
That defense is sick.
It is.
Look at that caught. Like, he moved his arm to catch it. Like, come on, man. Oof.
Still fighting at the bell. That's a good round by Mayweather for me.
Good one. That was a good one. That was definitely a good one.
Holy smokes. Look at this card they have.
Kaiser says May picked him off this round. Boz says defense doesn't win rounds by itself.
Defense definitely doesn't win rounds by itself. Definitely, if you watch that round over and over and over again, I think it's quite clear who won that round. That's right. I am trying to be
See those
biased.
uppercuts Mayweather was slipping in cleanly.
It was a good final round by Mayweather for me. That. Oh, the Budweiser scorecards. They must be drunk then.
For the winner by unanimous decision and new lightweight champion of the world, the undefeated.
Oh, it's a abrupt ending, but there you go. Wow. What was those scores? You'll have to remind me of those scores, boys.
I feel good about my card for sure.
So let me just get up our combined scorecard. Oh, just 1 second.
What a great fight, huh? That was definitely Mayweather was tested. You know, there was a lot of talk about the shoulder being a factor. I didn't feel like it was as much as I read it to be, and as well as it's aged over time. Because I just felt like Floyd was just it's kind of like with Tank and Ryan, just a different kind of ending. It was a decision, but I just felt like it was a big gap in skills.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think the rounds that Mayweather won were probably, clearer, whereas Castillo's rounds were like, they were close, and you probably just edged it towards him. So let's just have a quick look. I've got this. Yeah, it's got the scoring party up on my screen. So on the right hand side, you can see everyone's scores there. If we just go down the list, Josh had it 116, 110. I got it 114, 112 both to Mayweather. Boz had it 114, 112 to Castillo. Beagle had it 116, 111, and so did Alex. Same score, both to Mayweather. So the average is out to 100 and... That
Majority wins.
Doesn't seem like a correct average. 117, 112. But there you go. I don't know how that average has worked out that way, but there we are. I also wanted to go into our usual group and see what Kaiser had it 113, 113. Interesting. And can we do combined scorecard? No, we cannot. Unfortunately, we can't look at the combined scorecard average, which is a shame. But not to worry. We've at least got a good idea there of how people saw the fight. Would you say it was so controversial then, boys?
Well, I found it to be not as controversial as maybe what could be led to believe looking at Harold Letterman's scorecard. Now, I thought that the cleaner work was done by Mayweather throughout. Here on the amateur side, when I'm scoring here with USA Boxing, I've had some conversations and discussions with some of my colleagues, and I know that I tend to favor the more accurate, sharper punching over the aggression. And some could argue that could be a bias in a particular direction, but I do try to take into account what is actually landing. So while some fighters may be more aggressive, if they're not landing with accuracy, for me, it doesn't have as much value as someone who is landing sharp, cleaner punches, even if it's less in some instances as far as the amount thrown. Now, that's something I'll continue to work on and continue to observe and view as I continue to watch boxing and all of that. But for me, this was the story of this fight for Mayweather. He was landing the sharper, cleaner, accurate stuff. Some of it might not have been the bigger punches, the more eye popping punches. And for Castillo, he was the aggressor throwing more punches. But for me, I saw a lot of them not really landing cleanly. Some were bouncing off of Mayweather's arms, shoulders, side of his head, or back of the head. And same could be argued for some of the other non-clean work coming from Mayweather. But for me, I thought it was clear accuracy from Mayweather, and he had the sharper performance, if you ask me.
I'd say that's fair. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Kaiser's saying he had it even. I think Castillo boxed well throughout and was a good performance, but if he switched to 50-50 rounds, he would have been 115-111 to Floyd. Okay. Looks like Boz is trying to justify his scorecard. And yeah, so two judges had it 116-111, and then the other one had it. What was the other one?
It was 2 115 111, 1 116 111.
Got it. So yeah, pretty. Yeah, I don't think it's all that controversial, to be honest. I had Floyd by 2 rounds, and I can see it being wider than that as well. So yeah, it was a fun fight to watch. So I'd not seen it before, so it was my first time watching that one. It was very engaging, very interesting. Glad that we did this one.
Known as one of the most controversial fights, the most controversial fight of Floyd Mayweather. So it's funny how those narratives work. Mayweather said it after the fight. You guys see me get touched, and it's the biggest deal. Like, you're so used to me not getting hit that when it happens, I lost.
Very true. All right, all good. And thank you everyone that joined in with us on that. It's good to have as many people on board as possible so we can see some averages when my coding isn't bad. I'll get that fixed up for next time. So let's move things swiftly along. We'll get wrapped up. We'll just cover the next couple of weeks worth of fights that's coming up. Alex, you can take us through what's going on. And I've got BoxTrack open here on the screen with the top world quick links I've clicked. So next weekend. Go for it, Alex. Take us through it.
Yeah, we got what's his name? Magomed Kurbanov. I hope I said that right. I'm sure Boz. He's really good with pronouncing these names. So shout out to Boz always. But yeah, he's a guy that super welterweight, known for being Liam Smith in a controversial fight. Maybe one day we'll score that. Also Patrick Teixeira, but he's going across Michel Soro, who, if you've been watching some of the Zone shows, he fought the guy from Uzbekistan. No shot on his name. Here we go. Israel Madrimov. I believe I said that one right as well. Woof.
You're on fire.
But also controversial fight, but for other reasons. The stoppage loss that he had in the 9th round, which was, I think, like 10 seconds later after the bell. And then I think it was a clash of heads that stopped the rematch. But, a quality fight. The Russian, I think, with this win is going to hope, possibly put him in bigger fights. Maybe he'll come to America. But, with the whole landscape of what's going on in the world, who knows? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, he's getting a quote unquote name, and I think definitely someone to keep an eye on. So we'll see what happens in that matchup. And then we got a boxer card as well coming up with Joshua Buatsi. On that card, there's just not a lot of names that I'm seeing. Names that I recognize. I see that there's like a women's fight on there that has some type of British strap. Hold on, I'm pulling up right now.
Yeah, it's Lauren Price versus Kirsty Barrington. Not heard of her. But yeah, Lauren Price has got hype behind her. I think she was
the name that... I'm sorry.
Successful Olympian, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. What's her name? Sandy Ryan just got a strap out there on a card.
last week. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so UK boxing, man, coming up on the women's on the women's side. I think the big name that I see there is Ben Whitaker, who I'm always hearing so much about. After a couple fights, he's kind of gone MIA. I think he had an injury of some sort. So it's really good to see him out there because I think he's at like light heavyweight. I've heard
Yeah.
people talk about him being like the next Roy Jones, the way he moves, the talent level, all that. So definitely, I had to keep it out on. I'm sorry, keep an eye out for him.
Yeah, he's a bit of a slickster. I think he's a kind of a bit cocky and brash as well. So people might not be fully with him, especially in the UK. We don't like that kind of shit. But yeah, I think he doesn't mind playing a bit of the villain character as such.
Trains out here in the U.S. With Tyson Fury's trainer.
Okay.
I think
But yeah, it's an okay card. Maybe that support fight might be quite decent. Sean McComb versus Casey Benjamin. Yeah, Boatsi is one of those where I feel like he should be way further ahead than he seems to be, just due to inactivity. Maybe you mentioned ahead of the stream, I think, about him having issues with his promoters. I think he's changed promoter and stuff. Yeah, because he was with Eddie Hearn, weren't he? So yeah, probably promotional issues more than anything. But at least
so he want to be able to tell his buddies, "Hey, watch me on Channel 5." And with the Zone, he can't do that. But I believe the Zone is now on a Sports channel.
Oh,
So
is
it's
it?
quite
Yeah.
interesting.
Okay. I don't have
Yeah.
Sky Sports, so I don't know. But if they've baked it into their TV stations, then that'll really help, rather than it just being an online platform.
The gentleman that Buatsi's fighting was the guy that was supposed to fight Callum Smith a couple months ago.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
Buatsi,
I was gonna mention that. I thought that was that same name, and maybe if Buatsi performs and gets this victory, I wonder if that's something that could be made in
That'll
its
be good.
stead.
Yeah, that'll be good. Good domestic clash, definitely. All right, let's move on. Canelo versus John Ryder. That's on that weekend as well. That's the biggie
the big one.
over in Mexico. Go ahead, Alex. Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, pretty disappointing. This is a pay-per-view card here in America, and it's not worth $1, if you ask me. It is what it is. This is what boxing is. This is when you are seen as the face of boxing. You have a big event a couple weeks before, and then you want to charge $70+ for this type of matchup. Well, if you want to, there's passing the torch and there's a torch getting taken. So I think the baton is being passed to Tank. I think this is gonna if Canelo does not fight Benavidez, he is no longer gonna be this pay-per-view attraction. If you ask me, Rodolfo, I'm actually not Mexican. I'm Puerto Rican. But I do have my stepfather's from Mexico City, a place called Nesa. So yeah, I think I'm not upset at the matchup. Canelo coming off wrist surgery, and John Ryder has quote unquote earned his right.
I was
He's
just
had
gonna
wins
say.
over.
Sorry to interrupt. Just gonna say. I think John Ryder's earned a decent payday, a good shot.
Yeah, starting off from being robbed. A lot of people think I really want to rewatch that fight because I've never seen it. Him
Yeah.
against Colin Smith.
I didn't see it either, so we'll cover it one time.
Yeah,
on this.
same here.
But yeah, so Colin got the Canelo shot after that, but he's beaten Daniel Jacobs. He got the TKO victory over Zach Parker, who was in position to also get out to get a Canelo shot. So here we are. He has to travel to Mexico, and I expect it to be a decent fight. I'm just picking Canelo by decision, and I don't think it's going to be a great fight. One that we're going to remember. It's going to be one in passing. I think Ryder's going to have a good account of himself, but yeah, I think Canelo's on the decline, and this is going to be the fight to really show that.
Okay, I think John Ryder will do better than most of the other Brits that Canelo's pulverized in the not too recent past. I think I think he will stop him, but I think it'll be later on in the fight. Maybe round 8 onwards. Maybe. Josh, give us your thoughts on this and a prediction as well.
Yeah, one thing I'm certainly in agreement with is the whole pay-per-view thing. I think it's going to be a huge event there in Mexico, though, Guadalajara or wherever it is taking place. It is going to be huge. I think there's going to be a heavy crowd presence, and it's probably going to be a super big fight atmosphere where it's actually taking place. So that's kudos to Mexico, or kudos to Canelo. This is his first time fighting in Mexico since 2011. Great for pulling it up there. To think about that, that was like over a decade ago. So he hasn't fought there, and when
That's
we initially started to hear of Canelo is where it all started, where he was doing his thing there in Mexico and making waves. So I'd imagine it's going to be a big event. That being said, I do expect Canelo to get the victory at some point, likely going to be a stoppage, I would say, in what should be a pretty interesting fight up until the point that it lasts. The pay per view undercard isn't too bad by comparison to some others we've seen. For instance, the Tank Ryan undercard, I thought it had the makings of what could be pretty decent, but looking at it when it actually happened, I didn't think it was a very good undercard. At least what we got out of those fights that took place. With this one, it might be pretty decent, but certainly when you take into account it is pay per view, and you think about how that relays in other sports, you'd expect to see it being stacked with some of the top level fights, but I know that it becomes a money situation, and then hey, you're paying the main event, and then you kind of just fill out the rest in some sense. But certainly, this should be interesting. Steve Sparks going to be on there. He's pretty. He's shown that he's pretty game, and him against Valenzuela, that should be a pretty decent fight actually. Gvozdyk versus Bolotniks is interesting. Of course, Gvozdyk coming back, or at least I think he's already had a fight. Maybe fits his comeback. Bolotniks, he was game against Buatsi when they actually fought, but certainly, uh, yeah, at the price points with the pay per views and all, that can be a turnoff when we're seeing so many and they don't deliver that sort of expectation or that pizzazz or what you think. At least I'd much rather it be a situation like Mike Tyson back in the day where he was he was bringing such an atmosphere, and he was coming in there for pure destruction than to and sometimes his fights ended early, but he just had that vibe and aura about him. I'd much rather be that situation than one where, if it doesn't fully deliver in that main event space, then I think that kind of defeats the purpose of the pay per view, because that is the marquee fight. Now, I'm not saying that this one won't. It should end up being a pretty decent fight, I would say. But I'd expect Canelo to give us, his A game and really make a statement. If Benavidez or Morel or someone like that were to be next, or even if he's, I guess, going to try and take on Dimitri Bivol again. But time will surely tell. I know Alex mentioned that he feels Canelo's on the slide. We'll see in this fight. I still think Canelo is on top of his game, top dog. But certainly, if he doesn't fight David Benavidez, then yeah, that takes away a lot. And he has been one in the past to fight the fights that weren't to his benefit, i.e., fighting a Lara who wasn't going to be stylistically the person that he would look as good against, etc. We've seen him do that in the past, but Benavidez is the fight that we're clamoring for, and that's one of the best fights in boxing. We know Morel is there and coming up. I don't want to see Morel versus Benavidez before we get Canelo versus Benavidez. I think Morel should jump into the mix once that fight actually happens. So hopefully that is the case, pending the outcome of this actual contest with Ryder.
Excellent. I agree. And I was just going to touch on something that you'd mentioned a little bit earlier on there about how a pay-per-view should be headlined by the fight that's gonna bring the action and also the one that brings in the fans. And I hate it when you get a mediocre pay-per-view headliner and then one of the undercard fights is amazing and then the promoter's on the microphone saying, "This is why it's a pay-per-view event." And it's like it saves face a little bit because they know that the headline fight isn't quite living up to expectations, and that happens quite frequently, where you get like an unexpected undercard fight, which is just really good and all action, and it kind of saves the day a little bit. Anyway, that was just a little thought that popped in my head. I think that kind of covers us because I think the weekend after that there's not really much. Unless you've got something down, Alex, that's not on here at the moment. There's Jason Maloney against Vincent. I'm not going to pronounce that. And a fight in the Philippines as well. Was there anything else on your list to discuss? Or if not, we can call that a wrap.
Jeez, didn't know I was muted. That Jason Maloney. It's Johnny Beck is the main event of that card.
So that's just got more stars on it. Okay.
Man, but who is he fighting? Stephen Butler.
Stephen Butler.
Yeah.
That's it. Nothing else to say about that.
I think that's all it deserves. Okay, that's cool. I like Johnny Beck, so I'll watch the highlight reel knockout the next morning. How about that?
Yeah, right. And then that Haney Lomachenko was going to be pay-per-view. The undercard looks pretty solid. Just thinking about it overall. Hopefully the price point, I haven't looked into it, but I like the price point of the Ryan Garcia Tank there, at least on the zone. It was $60, which was like, hey, this is taking it back to what it probably should be, peak price as opposed to $75 or $79 or $85, whatever the heck it is, with some of these other ones that we've seen that don't live up to the hype in terms of top to bottom on the actual pay-per-view portion of it. But we'll see. But that one looks like it's pretty decent as far as some of those matchups that are lined up for it. And it's a big fight for sure. The main event is the marquee fight in that one for sure.
Well, the tank Ryan was actually, it was right. If you were already a DAZN subscriber, it was $60.
That's when it was cheaper, yeah.
And then Showtime was $85 price point. So
yeah, crazy.
But so the Haney Loma is for $60 straight up, regardless.
Okay, cool. So, I like that.
You guys have got it really, really harsh over there for pay-per-view prices because that's insane amounts of money. I was lucky that I resubscribed to DAZN last week for that fight, so I got Tank and Garcia. I'm gonna get Canelo next week, and I think I'll also catch in that same month the Katie Taylor fight as well. So that's my and then I can cancel that after that month. So I paid $25 $20 pounds even, and I get those three events. So I've done well there.
Yeah, the zone prices have gone crazy. I think it's $25 month to month, and if I always did the yearly, which was at one time $100 for the whole year. Now it's $250 for the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's when they first started over in the UK, I think it was £2 a month, and obviously that roped in a load of people, and then obviously it went up. So it went up to like £7, I think, for the month, and then in recently that's when they've changed the whole pricing plan.
I'm not doing the yearly anymore because that's such a drastic jump from what it was, and considering, if you were like a day one person, I was a day one subscriber, at least when it became available, as I'm sure many were. And to see such a steep jump, maybe that's bad business on their part in trying to bring in all of these other sports promotions and all of that. But I understand it in terms of them trying to get on that competing level of some of the other major platforms. But at $249 a year, along with having pay-per-views, I just don't see it as, you know,
Value.
that's not a benefit
Yeah.
right there. So
Yeah.
I didn't, mine actually came up in April in terms of when my annual subscription was coming up, and I didn't renew it for the year. So we'll see. I may just do it for month to month now, kind of on a monthly basis, and just see how it plays
That's
out from there.
that's definitely the best way. I mean, I don't know. I know it's slightly different between UK and US, isn't it? As well, with like certain fighters are on one but not the other sometimes. And I know that over here, there's been like some months where there's literally been no event. Like just nothing lined up. It's like it's mental to have that yearly subscription when you might get some months where there's nothing happening, and there's not been any guarantee of we're going to deliver X amount of shows
Yeah.
over that period of time or whatever. Not that I'm aware of anyway. And even if they say they can't guarantee it because fighters pull out of fights, injuries happen, and all that kind of shit. So nothing's guaranteed. Makes sense just to go month to month and then activate it and disable it as and when.
Yeah, and they were touting on the broadcast last night. They were touting the fact that the Katie Taylor Chantel Cameron event is not going to be pay-per-view. When in actuality, was it really going to be pay-per-view anyway? You know.
Very true.
Yeah,
Very
shout
true.
out Justin White. He's right. Pro Box, man. Over here, it's only like $2-3 a month.
Yeah.
It's not the biggest fights, but man, they're entertaining. I've been enjoying them. Yeah,
Mhm.
$2-3. Yeah, $20 a year. Shout out Pro Box. Hopefully they don't change.
Yeah, I'm with them as well. Yeah, and I do like the fights that I've gotten from them, and they'll have them in the middle of the week. Taking it back to the Wednesday night fights, Thursday night fight days, and they're usually pretty solid cards just in general. So yeah, I'm big on the pro box scene as well, and hopefully they continue to emerge.
That sounds good. If you want to add those fights that are featuring on those cards midweek and stuff to Fight Night Scores, make sure you can get them on there. You feel free to do that.
Oh yes.
So on that note, I think we will end there. I appreciate everyone that turned up this week. It's been really good actually in terms of the amount of people we've had in the chat. We appreciate you all being here. Hopefully we'll see you again in future live streams. Quick shout out to the likes of Boz, Bamabo, Kaiser Cobra, Justin White. There's more names somewhere. Info Joe, I mentioned you. Rodolfo as well, he came by. Boz, I might mention him, Beagle. And also to you two boys. I think someone else came late on. Who was that gave you a shout out, Alex?
Majid, yes. Thanks for stopping by, Majid. Appreciate
Thank you, Majid. Yes, you stopped by near the end. Hopefully you can catch a full stream next time. If you are interested in some more boxing talk, you need to head over to 86 Boxing. Josh is good, and Boz are going to head over there anytime now, and they're going to do their podcast. So I will stop by there, and I'll be in the chat joining in. Make sure you go and check out 86 Boxing if you haven't already. Thank you both boys for being here. It's been great being back. We'll be back in a couple more weeks, and we need to decide on a couple of fights that we're going to watch in future. Alex, that's your homework, my friend.
Easy peasy.
Sweet. All right, Ben. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you again soon.
Hit the thumbs up button, y'all.
Hit the thumbs up button. Thank you.
Thumbs
Goodbye.
up indeed.